Talk about a pattern of behavior. As the government still tries to sell its stories and its indictments, we keep watching these platforms give these so-called enablers the platform to continue to spread their narratives and bypass all the information and inconsistent statements they've made. Now, clearly, yet again, they have put all this information out there and can't even keep up with the information they've given us, and the media keeps bypassing their clear motives. Funny how these people put all these narratives out there manipulating the truth when you can always go back and check the facts. Make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's point out some discrepancies with these narratives and how Robert Kelly is being presented as preying on underage children. The government would like to convince us that Robert Sylvester Kelly is running this RICO enterprise in which he's using his concerts and music to recruit underage girls. However, if you just do a little stroll down memory lane, you will come across interviews like this from people who were there, and they tell you quite the opposite story. However, as I have pointed out these last 2 years, the government is trying to take stories, criminalize them by their standards, and sell us these bullshit narratives. However, these individuals previously have pretty much shitted on their whole theory. Watch this.
Star over here, I can tell you about his business because it's right here in front of him. You know that thing about Cinderella? So it's the male version. It's the male version of Cinderella. You know, always had to stay back and clean this and do this and that. I was Cinderella. This guy. When I say star,
I mean, Vlad, imagine, I know you heard stories of people on tour all the time. So imagine, an above average artist that is on tour, above average. We were like probably 10 times that.
Imagine artists around a mega superstar and the type of attention they get by being associated with that superstar. You could tell a lot of these guys around Robert Kelly enjoyed in the perks in being around him. So when I started to speculate from my perception that I believed a lot of these women were indulging with the entourage, this is why. It's because there's many interviews in which these people reflect some of these activities.
So it was, crazy everywhere we went. It was crazy.
No, he was asking for specifics. So you need to say something that happened, right? Just going to that.
Well,
Thought I helped you out, sorry.
I mean, girls, okay. I got a good story for you, then. Even when we first started out and we were doing club dates, and we would be like, the bus would stay at the hotel and we'd be in like a van. And after the show, it looked like a funeral going back to the hotel. Nothing but cars. Nothing but cars. No, it did.
I know.
It looked like a funeral. And that's
long
where,
procession.
It would go crazy. I mean, at that point.
Yeah. Somehow, some way, somebody gave out the number or the information of where we were staying, and it was on. So yeah, I do remember that. That was funny.
There's a video.
Somebody somehow gave out the number. We don't think this could be happening numerous times, and how certain individuals would end up in certain locations.
And let me know, because I can't quite figure out the time frame of it, but it's R. Kelly performing in a theater type venue, and I'm not sure if it's you guys or someone else holding up a sign that says 18 and over.
Oh no, you know it's him. You know it was him. It was him holding the sign up. Oh yeah, you know who it was. It was him. Make it good.
He was putting it in our brains as if he was older, of course, and the girls had to be 18 and over. So at that time, it felt right to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, 18 and over, that's legal. Everything is good. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was me holding the sign. As crazy as that sounds. But
Let's make this make sense. They said he is touring, doing all this concert, promoting all this to recruit underage girls. However, I've shown you this video in which this man right here is running with that sign saying you have to be 18 and older.
it's true.
You fast forward to 2019 and it looks pretty crazy.
Right, it looks crazy. Yeah, it looks crazy.
Why does it look crazy when you see all these articles about this man being this predator, being involved with all these minors, and then he takes a proactive approach to make it known to everybody you have to be 18? That's weird.
Looks
I mean,
insane.
the fact, because 18 and over is kind of assumed by adult males, but no one actually had a sign that said 18 and over. That was unique before and after.
Right.
That was a staple saying this is what it is. It was pre nonsense. It was letting you know that this is what it has to be, and Big Guy had the chance to hold a sign.
Now, according to the people, this man was letting it be known what it had to be. You had to be 18 and anything goes. Yet, they want us to believe that everybody knew he had this infatuation with younger girls. And they play with that younger girls because they know he likes younger girls. But they manipulate that word with minors.
I think we need to get another sign so you can hold that one in the show we do now. I was in a drought. It was one of those things where everybody was around, but they were like, we were so busy. It was hard to actually reach out to women and say, hey, come meet me in my hotel room. Hey, do this, that, because everything was rush, 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 go, go, go. So if you really wanted that, you actually had to go, hey, make sure you give them my number. And you had to pass your number to somebody else on the team to get it to it. Because other than that, it was like you were royalty. Everything was rushed. And I mean, literally, it was people putting their hands on you, moving you from one place to another everywhere you went. So for me, I was sitting there dry going, what am I going to do now?
Isn't it interesting that the government wants to portray to the public that Robert Sylvester Kelly is running this RICO enterprise and he is using his music to recruit underage girls? He will then proceed to asking questions about Aaliyah, in which these individuals claim that another group member saw her and Robert Kelly at the back of the bus. We hear that story told by another alleged Jane Doe. However, we know that statement is false and where she got that story from. Yet, let's think about reasonable doubt as to who this man could have actually saw behind the bus and why a man like Robert Kelly doesn't have to address hearsay from a disgruntled employee.
I haven't had a chance to see these, alleged tapes or whatever, but I mean, I'm certainly keeping him in my prayers. I know that being an entertainer certainly affords you a lot of extra attention and prying into whatever your personal choices are, whether they be right or wrong. But I mean, who are we to judge?
He always gonna be one, the greatest R&B singer in my eyes, and I hope that people don't mix, it's kind of messed up, but that happened like that. But I would hope people just continue to support his music. I mean, we've seen these type of situations before. Hopefully, we can get past it.
I always liked R. Kelly. I didn't watch the video, even though everybody has it. I think it's disgusting. I mean, I have a daughter myself, and anytime you mess with a young girl underage, it's all bad. I mean, but at the same time, R. Kelly needs some help.
If he did it, then he should be punished for it.
But longtime friend and singer Ron Isley, who has performed with the embattled artist, predicts R. Kelly will survive the sex, lies, and videotape saga.
Been around long enough to listen to them boo Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston,
and quite a few. And then those people come back for whatever reason and go right back to the top. So I know through the boos they still love who they boo. They're disappointed in something from that entertainer, but that entertainer always bounce back.
My observation of the public is that 50% of them think he's disgusting and will not buy his music, but teeter on still liking the song. I mean, goodness knows, Your Body's Calling Me. That's a legendary song. It's just that now the body that's calling is a 12-year-old body, which is disgusting.
Now, didn't they tell us that everybody knew about what was going on? Yet again, if you go back and just check the video footage, you will notice the discrepancy. So what I find disturbing and disgusting is watching all these celebrities and puppets enable these narratives. For some strange reason, it has become human nature for the black community to aid in so much gossip and not consider the legal consequences other people can use and manipulate to criminalize our people. To make matters worse, we have people who took it upon themselves, who felt like he bought his last acquittal, who decided we're going to drain his finances on top of all the shady activities that was going on behind the scenes. So with that being said, to present to the public that there's no amount of money that he has that could buy him out of this mess now is kind of preposterous when they know exactly how they strategically went about these charges.
And blaming his enemies for setting him up.
It upsets me really bad, you know what I'm saying? Because, first of all, I'm not aware of anything like that. And for people, unknown people, to make those statements against me is ridiculous.
After yesterday's arrest, Kelly released this statement, quote, "I have complete faith in our system of justice, and I am confident that when all the facts come out, people will see that I'm no criminal." The tape was first made public by the Chicago Sun-Times, which turned it over to authorities investigating complaints of teen sex against Kelly. Music reporter Jim DeRogatis says he confirmed that it was Kelly on the tape by showing it to the 14-year-old's aunt.
So we the people supposed to believe that all these people are contacting this journalist about criminal activities, not the police, and he takes it upon himself to go show child porn to the girl he thinks aunt. Nobody questions how he knew it was her niece, none of that. We just gonna run with what he says, let him keep writing these articles, this book, and then flip his story talking about it was her that contacted him. So these people can't even get their lies straight, yet we're supposed to just blindly follow it.
One of the worst things I've ever had to do as a reporter is sit with this woman and say, look, I don't want to show you this, but we need to make sure this girl is who we think this girl is.
Jury selection is underway for R. Kelly's trial in New York City, where hundreds of potential jurors are expected to appear before federal court. The 54-year-old R&B singer has been charged with racketeering based on sexual exploitation of children, kidnapping, forced labor, and transportation of women and girls across state lines for illegal sexual activity. Kelly has denied everything. Earlier, I joined CBS This Morning's interview with Asante McGee, who lived with Kelly in 2016 and now accuses him of abusing her and other women living in his home.
We spoke to you back in 2019. You said that you were literally terrified when you saw that interview that he did with Gayle King. Are you still terrified? Does it still bring about those emotions when you see him in court, when you hear his name?
It does. Whenever I hear his voice, I freeze up. I'm trying to get a little better because I am in counseling, but when I hear his voice, I am still terrified.
You say that you faced backlash because you did speak out. What has life been like for you since you went public with your story?
In the beginning, I did receive a lot of backlash. Till today, I still receive backlash, but I don't receive as much as I've done in the beginning, as much as I've received in the beginning. Right now, I'm just trying to live my life, take care of my family, and run both of my businesses, my nonprofit as well as my HVAC business.
Nice way to plug those businesses now that people are speaking on these PPP loans, all these so-called hostages collected on. If you ask me, if people start looking into that and questioning the stories that they get on these public platforms and say, then maybe they will see what we see and how this individual specifically transitioned from an employee, an enabler, to a victim. Even saying that she saw an alleged Jane Doe doing specific things, contacting these people's family to get all this stuff stirred up, when actuality she was stalking this man, trying to get close, and got in her feelings about certain things, which you will find with all these stories. These people willingly go along with certain things, get in their feelings, and then hatch these criminal activities. Now, I bet if they did their due diligence and researched all these fake pages that popped up to enable these stories and narratives, they would realize where all this stuff comes from and start to side-eye these individuals they give platforms to. That's just wishful thinking, because if you see what I see, I think they know exactly the character of these people. What are your thoughts on all this propaganda we're being subjected to? Make sure you go check out my playlist on Asante McGee Carson so you can see her character. You will see she has a history and pattern of behavior within herself. And let's think about how all these people laughed at Robert Kelly when he told you about all these real victims being ignored to facilitate these narratives. Like this story right here, which got a little media coverage, but we hear stories like this every single day.
Details in the disappearance and death of Alexis Crawford. Warrants reveal the Clark Atlanta University student was allegedly strangled and smothered after a fight with a roommate and the roommate's boyfriend. Crawford was reported missing on November 1st, just one day after police say that she was murdered, but her body wasn't found until 7 days later in a DeKalb County park.
Hope Ford has the warrants, and Hope, it says both suspects had something to do with how Alexis died.
Yeah, according to the warrants, Crawford was physically choked by one suspect and a black trash bag placed over her head, smothering her, by the other suspect. And what makes this also shocking is her murder happened a few hours after she was last seen on surveillance video with her roommate.
Now, if we want to empower these women to have these nonprofits and stand by real victims, that's not a problem. My problem is when we enable these terrorists, these women feminists, to take over movements, to scandalize them, and to cover up for other people's dirty deeds. And then we ignore real victims. So when we ignore the fact that a lot of people don't speak out because they really are in fear compared to being someone's side chick. The laws and facts to target individuals they don't like or agree with and ignore real issues, that is a real problem. And just because you hear the rumors doesn't mean you can bypass the law to publicly denounce a person, to publicly take away this person's finances, and then pile up all these criminal charges against them, knowing they can't properly defend themselves. That makes no sense. How do you feel about this obvious deception? Leave your comments below. Make sure you like this video, share, subscribe if you haven't already.
Everybody ain't your partner.